What's up, everybody? Happy Saturday. I hope you guys enjoyed your Saturday thus far. It is a rainy day in Georgia here, and I have enjoyed my Saturday as well. So let's talk about Kimmie and Maurice Scott. So y'all know I did a video about Maurice going on to the Carlos King show and basically saying that his wife still get it in with him even though she was getting chemo because of her breast cancer that she had. And so he basically said that he felt like she suffered through getting it in with him even though she did not feel like doing so. And he felt like she was being admirable because she still got it in with him regardless of what she was going through. Like, she put her feelings to the side to make him feel good. And they just did an interview on Fox Soul with Funky Dineva, Claudia Jordan, and Al Reynolds. And if y'all thought that the video that Maurice did with Carlos King was cringy, then you should expect this video to be just as cringy as well. Okay? Because Kimmie definitely tried her best to defend Maurice and what he said. And you could also tell that Kimmie was very uncomfortable in the interview as well. And so I believe she was uncomfortable because she expected Maurice to actually answer the question that Claudia asked him. And the question was, would you rephrase what you said about bending your wife over? And Claudia basically asked him that twice. And he said yes, but I believe Claudia and Kimmie were expecting him to apologize about the whole situation and him saying that, and he did not. He stood 10 toes down on what he said, and he did not apologize for it all. And you can tell on Kimmie's face that she was agitated about the whole situation. And so I'm glad that Claudia and Funky Dineva basically asked the right questions to him about the interview that he did with Carlos King. So I will just let you guys see this interview for yourselves. Okay, check out this video.
Kimmie, I'd like to give you the opportunity to respond to a headline. A sad case of a man. Love and Marriage Huntsville fans slam Maurice for demanding intimacy while Kimmie goes through chemotherapy. Kimmie, what is your response to the backlash that Maurice has been getting lately?
So here's the thing, like originally, I didn't even watch it. He told me he had an interview with Carlos, and usually I just kind of get the nuts and bolts of it. You know, he was like, well, we did this. He asked me about that, and I didn't do anything. And then when I finally saw stuff just kind of everywhere, I was like, oh my gosh, what did you say? I literally was like, what did you say? And so one of the comments somebody keeps screenshotting around is the fact that I said, let me go see the interview. And people were like, I don't believe she hasn't seen it. And I just got life. Like, we got stuff. So when I actually did see it, I told him, I said, that was disrespectful. Like, the words that you chose were cruel to me. It wasn't protecting me. The irony of the conversation in itself was that if you actually watch the show, I'm the one who initiated the conversation in regards to the fact that the chemo has affected my libido. And I know that affects him and his sexual injuries. So he has never forced me to do one single thing. He has never made me. He has never implied he was going to leave me. So the headlines, in order to get likes and tags, I absolutely get it. But the words that he chose to use throughout that interview, I felt were a bad choice of words in regards to me, because it didn't protect me in the words that he chose to use to describe. Like, I think he said, bend over and take it. That's like ridiculous. Like, that's ridiculous. And I told him, I said, that was awful. The wording choice was awful.
You know,
I want to jump in and say something real quick. I was horrified too with some of the language, and I spoke about having a situation where it was the reverse. I had a man that had some issues. I want to ask both of you, Kimmie. I want to ask you first. Do you feel the pressure? Like, if I don't satisfy my man, even when I don't feel good, am I nervous? Do I feel a way about the future of my marriage? And Maurice, if you could take back what you said, would you rephrase it, or do you stand on exactly what you said?
So for me, like I said, we filmed it and everything. For Kimmie, I never felt like he was going to leave me. That wasn't the case whatsoever. Mm. However, even before our chemo issue came up, we already had conversation about our sex life. We talked about our sex life before we got married. So this is like an honest statement. In Kimmie's world, I had made up in my head 7 days was the limit. Like, I would never make my husband go more than 7 days. I don't care if we're angry. I don't care what's going on. That was always Kimmie's rule in her head. And so in this case, we went about 2 weeks and I was like, ugh. So it was my choice because I know that that's fulfilling for both of us. It's fulfilling for both of us. Like, at the end of the day, he's not the only one missing out. I'm missing out because I don't have the same climax. I don't have the same arousal. You know what I'm saying? So I never had that conversation based on the fact that I thought he was going to leave. I know I love my husband and that is a big part of our world. I don't physically hurt. It doesn't hurt me to have sex. It doesn't do that whatsoever. It was just the arousal of the moment and the climax that is very different for me. So I'm just not getting the same fulfillment out of the sexual activity that he was.
We got it. So let's get Maurice in here. Maurice, do you think it was selfish for you to force your wife to suffer through it while she was fighting for her life? Your words.
Your words. Now, those are my words. And I'm going to own the words that I say. However, you have to take everything into full context. I didn't have knowledge of her suffering. I didn't have knowledge of her rolling over and giving it to me when she didn't want to, right? Or didn't feel the need to. At the end of the day, this is the thing. She surprised the hell out of me on television, talking about, you know what? I'm not getting it. I'm faking it. All that stuff. Like, listen, it's on national TV. So I'm like, oh, really? So you're faking it. This whole time I'm thinking that you're doing it. And it puts everything into context when you watch the television show and then you actually see the interview. Because for me to find out that she's faking it, and then for me to analyze the situation and say, it's admirable for her to do this because, number one, most people that do things for you let you know that they're doing it for you. They don't let you find out later on, oh, wow, you were actually hurting or you were going through something and you were sharing that and you were doing it for me. So, of course, I would change my words and give better context in any type of interview. However, I still play it.
You don't think it was a little cringy to even want to have sex with her while she was going through that? And I ask that because typically if somebody's not feeling well, we don't make them cook. We don't make them wash the dishes. We may not make them take the kids to school, and all of those things are oftentimes considered a wife's duty. You didn't think it would be all right for her to forego that one duty while she was going through this?
See, this is the thing. We weren't doing it on the day she wasn't feeling good. Unless I didn't know that either.
Interesting.
So can you ask you earlier, would you rephrase anything that you said? Because it seemed your wife just revealed that it was your words, right? And how you said things, bend over and take it. I've done this many times. I've said stuff and it's like, I wish I would have said it like this. Would you rephrase anything? Would you do over, or are you like, no, I meant it exactly?
Definitely. Anytime my wife feels like she's not protected by whatever I do, that's my job. Mm-hmm. That's why God gave her to me, is to make sure that I have a covering and protection over her at all times. And if she feels like my words are crass, then I'll change my words. I'm not one of those people that say, man, I said what I said. Now, mind you, that's a great quote and everything else that goes around social media. I said what I said. I don't even know where that came from. But Candy. I'm not one of those people. It came from
Candy on the Housewives of Atlanta. She said it on one of the reels.
But I'm not one of them. I said what I said. I said what I said. Hold on. Let me say it better the next time.
So I know y'all probably been through this, and we know Martell and Melody have gone through this. The fans have been voicing their opinion about Maurice's remarks, and many of them are saying, Kimmie should leave the relationship. Obviously, you're not going nowhere. But has all this scatterbutt from the fans affected you guys' relationship in any way?
I actually really don't care what people will say that don't love me. Like, they love me one day, they hate me the next. I don't really care what Kimmie says. If Kimmie says it offends her, guess what? I'll be changing. If Monster says it offends him, Jalen, any of the kids, guess what? I'll change. But
I think
it's a moment in time being on, television that we have to take a lot of comments, whether we agree, don't agree. I usually take most of them with a grain of salt most of the time. However, I think, some of our fans to me just go overboard, like really for real. But in general, I felt like a lot of them were warranted, that the communication, it was crass. I mean, it was crass and, non-protecting, disrespectful. A lot of those comments were on point.
And I gotta say this as the woman here, and I'm sorry, Al, I know you haven't had a chance to say anything. I still haven't heard him rephrase it in a kinder way right here on the show. I've been trying to give you the opportunity because I feel like your wife is protecting you more than you're protecting her. I feel like she's protecting your rep, and I'm like, Kimmie, I should have said it like this. I'm sorry. And it's like, I feel so bad for her. Like, I can't imagine going through what she's going through, you saying that, and then me asking you twice if you would rephrase it, and you said, yeah, but you really haven't. It seems like it's more about you than her still, in my opinion. It's just my opinion, and you can tell me shut the fuck up if you want to. It's just my opinion,
No, I understand where you're coming from. And what I said is you got to get it in the context. I'm not going to rephrase. You said, would I rephrase it? Yes, I would rephrase it. But at the end of the day, we're talking about this because I've already said something, right? There's no taking it back. There's no ringing that bell. That bell's rung. That's why we're here. At the end of in the future, what I will do is I'll make sure that my wife feels protected. I don't feel any different about the situation. At the end of the day, my wife did something that most people won't do. Simply, she put her personal feelings aside. I never wanted her to do anything that was uncomfortable. I wanted her to stop working. I wanted her to put everything to the side and let's get better. So when she's doing things to find a sense of normalcy in life, guess what? I don't know, because I'm not inside of her, what makes her feel good, what doesn't make her feel good, when she's feeling good, when she's not. So at the end of the day, you know what? I just
don't want to belabor a point, but I just can't help but notice, Kimmie, you look very uncomfortable right now.
Me?
Yeah, are you?
No, see, I'm not uncomfortable. What's funny, I guess, to me is that listening to the questions, and sometimes I think that he doesn't always answer the question at hand. And so I'm not uncomfortable at all. But sometimes in my head, I'm like, that's kind of not what she said. Or like, she kind of hit you the ball 2 times and you kind of let it go 2 times. So I'm not uncomfortable, but in my head, I'm just trying not to interrupt him or guide his answer in another direction. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just trying to listen to, his response.
I understand what you're saying, Kimmie, woman to woman. I think your husband loves you. It's obvious you love him. There's clearly a disconnect in the communication as a third party looking in. And I'm no expert because I'm not married. You guys are. But I've been in relationships that are similar to this. And my advice would be, Maurice, you don't have to be inside of her to know how she thinks she's your wife. You see her every day. You know when she's sad. You know when something hurts her feelings. And Kimmie, I think you really protect him because there's a public light on you, and I get it. Because you don't want the public coming for your man. You love him. But at the end of the day, you can't fully heal from anything when you're emotionally fucked up. And Maurice, your job is to make sure your wife feels good and, bend over and take it. This would be the perfect opportunity to rephrase it. You don't have to. I've been pushing it. You don't have to. But it would have been nice to hear some kind words to rephrase that. Because if I heard a man say that about me, I'd be fucking horrified. never met, and she has to already go through so much. And you said it, your wife is willing to. I've been with a fine ass man that are beautiful and everything is perfect in our relationship. Not perfect, but things are good in our relationship. But I'm turned off from something small. I couldn't imagine going through chemo and what that feels like, and then having the magnifying glass of a reality show talking shit. Just be mindful as a couple, because it will tear you apart. Been there, done that. I'm not telling you this from someone that hasn't. And I really hope y'all get through this, because there is love, obviously. But the communication it's like you guys are going like this, And I don't know if y'all, it sounds like talking at each other or not.
Ooh, honey, so y'all saw that video. And so y'all saw that Kimmie did try to defend and protect Maurice, as a lot of women do for their man and their husband. And so I've always said this: a woman will lie to justify the behaviors of her husband and or boyfriend. I've done it before, so I see it when other women do it. And so I feel like Kimmie did that, because even though she said in the beginning, I said that I wouldn't let 7 days go without giving it to my husband. And at that point, we had gone 2 weeks, and I felt that that was too long, and my body wasn't hurting. It wasn't hurting me to get it in with him. But all the while, she's faking it. Like, she was just doing it just to get it over with. She did not have a climax. She wasn't aroused. So basically she was just doing it just to be doing it. And to be honest with you, I feel like she probably was doing it because she felt like he would go out and get it from someone else. And that's how a lot of women think. It's sad but true. And so you did not feel like doing it, but you still did it anyway. You were suffering through chemo. And I know a lot of chemo patients, they are sick. And so Maurice said that he didn't even know half of the time that she wasn't feeling well, and that she did not feel like getting it in with him. Like, where is the communication there? That like Claudia said, there is a lack of communication, because how don't you know that your wife is not sick? How don't you know that your wife is not in the mood? Like, he really just wanted to continue to get it in to sow his royal oats, as like in Coming to America. But so she really tried to defend him, like, I'm still gonna give it to him because I want it too. You really didn't, because you faked the funk throughout the whole process. Like, you wasn't even aroused. You didn't even get a climax. So instead of telling him, listen, I don't feel like doing it right now, can we wait? You didn't tell him that. He didn't even know that you were not feeling up to it. So there is a lack of communication in that relationship. And she was so agitated because she definitely wanted Maurice to rephrase what he said and then to apologize. And he did not do that. He stood 10 toes down on what he said. And I really liked how Claudia stepped in and said, I would be horrified if my man told the whole world that, just bend it over and take it and I'm still going to get it. Like, I would be horrified too. I would not want my man to say something like that while I'm going through chemo, while I had breast cancer. I would not want my man to tell anybody that. Like, you could have kept that quiet, So, and I'm glad that Funky Dineva asked Kimmie, was she uncomfortable? And of course she lied, because we all saw how she was looking. She did not feel comfortable at all. She still lied and said, I feel comfortable. I just wanted him to answer the question how he should have. Girl, he was not. He was not going to answer that question how you thought he was. He was not going to rephrase what he said about bending you over. He was not. It's sad to say that. It was sad to say that. Okay. And yeah, that interview was quite cringy, and I'm glad that Funky Dineva and Claudia asked the right questions, because we were all wondering, like, girl, what is up with y'all relationship? Yeah, it's a lack of communication, because it's just a lot going on over there in Kimmie and Maurice's house. Okay, but that's my 2 cents. Like I said, it's this situation was like, I could not believe it. I really could not believe that he still wanted his wife to get it in while she was going through chemo and things of that nature. I could not believe it, and I still can't believe this interview too. It was just as worse as the first one, to be honest with you. So, you guys, what do y'all think about this interview with Maurice and Kimmie on Fox Soul? Y'all know what y'all got to do. Comment down below. Let me know your thoughts. If you're new to my channel, make sure you subscribe to my channel. Share this video. Like this video. And y'all know what y'all got to do. Stay tuned for the next video. Alrighty. Bye.